Secession, Civil War, watering the tree of liberty with the blood of patriots. Interesting literature being passed out at a recent NRA convention calling for secession and civil war, if I'm reading this right. It was an article that was titled, What Would Davy Crockett Say? It was written by Paul Koenigs. I used to live in Germany. The German pronunciation would be Koenigs, but Koenigs. Karl Koenigs. And Karl is with us. He writes for Realty News Media. He's also the state coordinator for GiveMeLiberty.org and the Wisconsin Tea Party Committee's Coalition on State Sovereignty. Hey, Paul. Hey, Karl. Welcome to the program.
Hi. Good afternoon, Thom.
So, did you really mean that it's time to water the tree of liberty with the blood of patriots? In other words, it's time to kill federal officials?
No, absolutely not. That particular article, in fact, really means just the opposite in that with everything going the way it is with our huge public debt that we have right now, which is over $16.5 trillion, and the unfunded liabilities of Social Security, Medicare, and the Medicare prescription drug program being cumulatively $122 trillion, which is increasing at the rate of $1 trillion every month. Our feeling is that our elected representatives, Republicans and Democrats, sooner or later will actually want us to pay for that. And we believe that they're going to have to come after the middle-class taxpayers because that's where the money is available to be able to pay.
I thought the middle-class taxpayers were pretty much wiped out. Most people are underwater in their homes. We've got over $1 trillion in student loan debt. There's over $1 trillion in credit card debt. The top 1%, in this report just came out yesterday, for 2009, 2010, 2011, over 100% of all income gains were only in the top 1%. Everybody in the bottom 99% actually saw a 0.4% decrease in income. Net wealth, the bottom 99% since 2007 has lost, $7 trillion in net wealth, most of that in housing values. So, I mean, we're tapped out, Karl. I mean, if you believe your numbers, and we could have a debate about them, but I really don't see any point in it. You believe those numbers to be the case. What are they going to take?
Right. I absolutely. Our committee, our Wisconsin Tea Party Committee on State Sovereignty, we absolutely agree with what you're talking about there, Thom. And I'd also like to augment that with saying that there was a research done that wanted to find out if you would take all of the money, all the assets, all the companies, and everything that the 1% had. In fact, actually the top 10% had. All that money would only last 347 days of the year just to pay for the thousands of usurpations that exceed the 18 enumerated powers clauses of Article 1, Section 8.
Well, again, Karl, we could dispute those numbers, and when you consider that one family, the Walton family, has wealth that is greater than that of 40% of America, that the 400 richest Americans have more wealth than the bottom 150 million Americans. We can get into that kind of minutia, but and debate it if you want. But I'm willing to say, you believe your numbers. I think they're wrong, but you believe your numbers. And so my question to you is, what you're calling for a civil war? I mean, here I've got the article here right in front of me. You said, or otherwise by this is if our federal public servants. Well, in fact, here, this is the most heinous disease that can only be cured by the constitutional decentralized power of our home country of Wisconsin, restoring our supreme laws, in quotes, on our federal public servants within our borders. In other words, you can tell me what that means. Or otherwise by a combo civil/re-revolutionary war with the very same goal to restore the rule of our laws on our elected, non-elected, and wannabe elected Republican and Democrat, I'm assuming you meant Democratic, federal servants through the refreshment of the tree of liberty by its natural manure, which, of course, Thomas Jefferson said was blood. What are you suggesting? I get it that you're diagnosing a problem, and I don't disagree with you that there is a problem. We can disagree on the nature and size of the problem, but or even how to solve the problem, but I don't understand what your specific solution is when you write that you're calling for a civil war or a revolutionary war, and then you say that you're not. What's the middle ground here?
Yeah. The point of that is that we're going to end up in a situation where the federal government, our elected servants, have no choice but to tax all of the middle class and basically take virtually the greatest percentage of our gross income.
The banksters have already taken it all. Again, I mean, we're back to this thing.
Right, and okay. So my point is that we're going to end up with our choice that we can either use our constitutionally protected power of nullification to nullify the power, size, scope, and spending of the federal government from our states.
How do you do that?
Which formed our federal government under something called the Great Connecticut Compromise.
No, but you're thinking of the Articles of Confederation. The power of nullification was within the Articles of Confederation. That was rejected in 17. I mean, we operated under those rules from 1783 when we won the Revolutionary War until 1787 when the Constitution was ratified. But the Constitution, we're no longer a loose collection of 13 sovereign states that basically have, instead of a constitution, a giant trade agreement. We now have a federal constitution that places the federal government sovereign above the individual states, and it's unambiguous. Are you suggesting overthrowing the government of the United States?
No, I am not. But let's go back in time just a little bit, Thom, because I don't believe that your historical record is correct. What had happened was James Madison and the Federalists wanted to completely dissolve the states and just have one federal government.
They absolutely did not. James Madison was a Virginian, and he was very dedicated to his state of Virginia. Read the debates in the Virginia Ratifying Convention, Karl. I think you'll be fascinated by them.
Yeah, let me just finish with what I'm saying here, though.
Sure.
The states were refusing to ratify the Constitution, and they were having a tremendous debate and argument.
Right. Virginia's principal objection from Mason and Patrick Henry was that they were concerned that it would end slavery.
What happened is something called the Great Connecticut Compromise, which allowed the states to form a more perfect union of free and independent states.
Right.
Giving only 18 enumerated powers to the federal government to handle those powers and those things only, and only being able to spend money on those 18 enumerated things. That is the history of the Great Connecticut Compromise that made the Constitution even possible, and even the federal government itself possible.
Where in the Constitution does the phrase enumerated powers appear?
Of Confederation right now, as a matter of fact.
Where in the Constitution does the phrase enumerated powers appear?
In the preamble of the Constitution, you'll see that we the people, in order to form a more perfect union,
right.
What they're talking about there is a more perfect union of free and sovereign states, which was necessary.
No, it doesn't say that. It says a more perfect union, period.
Ratified.
This is the nation. And when you read what is generally referred to as the enumerated powers part of the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, it gives absolutely totally broad power to Congress to do anything it wants that's going to promote the general welfare, to raise taxes and spend money.
Thom, that's not correct either. The general welfare phrase of which you're speaking of, which is also listed under...
Karl, we have to take a break. Can you stick around?
By all means.
Hang on. This is just going to take a second.